I am so sorry. My my video just shut off. There's a video vixen in the Joe Budden's podcast. Joe Budden has a podcast. I don't know if people know Joe Budden. Some people do, some people don't. But it's a bunch of men on there. You could tell it's male dominated, and they bring up issues about the industry, the rap industry, different topics, right? And they never really, in my opinion, respect her views because she's coming from a woman's point of view, right? Sometimes they'll agree with her and stuff like that, but majority of the time they kind of like, to me, be shutting her up. So there's this other guy. He reminds me of that show, the Joe Budden show. And the reason why I won't mention this guy's name is because he's a little more local. So I don't want him to ever say, "Oh, this girl CC Trucker, let's look her page up," because he seems like that type that'd be like, "Let's look her page up. Let's see if she's relevant. She want to talk about me. She want to come for me." Like you can't really talk about people like that. So this is just my take on his show. He has this one girl on there. She's very pretty. And he has like two other guys. And I don't watch that show that much because it's cringy to me. But before he started with that girl, he had this other girl. And I don't know, there was a fallout or something. But it was kind of like a big scandal with the other girl. So he talks about women topics. I think he's married. Yeah, he is married. But he's so, oh God, I can't stand that dude. He's so biased towards women that everything he talks about, it's like a downgrade to women. It's like, oh, women are not smart. Women shouldn't go to school. Women should be home doting over him. And I'm like, how does his wife deal with that arrogance? But this is the point I'm about to make. I am not a feminist by no stretch of the imagination. I don't even know what that term means, right? When you think about it. Because nowadays they call any female that goes to school, that has a degree, that has some brains, that is not doting over a man, a feminist. Then you got these titles where if you are in love with your man, you treat him good, you're a pick-me-sha or a mammy. So this is what I'm getting tired about with this community, what they call the black community. We take terminologies and we take them out of context and we don't apply them to the way they should be, what it's meant to be. So I'm listening to this other podcast with this guy. I don't have a big problem with him. He's just a little flashy in my opinion. When I say flashy, he wears a lot of gold. And I'm like, he said he's conscious. All right, so in Islam, they say gold is feminine, that a man shouldn't wear gold. But I don't care. If a man likes gold and he looks good in it, whatever. But this guy wears a lot of gold. I don't know what his religion is. I think he's into that African, Egypt. I don't know if it's called Egyptology, but I know he's not into Yoruba. That's more into white and dark magic. So I'm not really sure what he's into, but I know he talks about the science and scientific stuff, like about the planets. So his stuff be pretty interesting. He's a little annoying to listen to because he's kind of arrogant. So I try to like take him with a grain of salt, you know what I mean? But he had this girl on his podcast, this lady, talking about femininity. And I'm like, here we go with the fucking terms again. So I'm assuming they're thinking femininity means you have to be submissive to a man. Nothing wrong with being submissive to your husband. That is your choice. But can y'all stop feeding women this crazy rhetoric about being beneath a man or being underneath a man? This is why women are not growing mentally. You're stifling the woman. If you stifle the woman, you stifle your community. Women have been strong for ages, especially the black woman. Yeah, y'all get tired of that title, but you know what? It's in our nature. It's in our nature. Not all. So when I talk, this is not to say all people. But what I don't like saying is that all women should be feminine. It's not fair. You got some women that are tomboys. They don't like to be labeled as a mom. That's just not in their That's just not in their vocabulary. They don't want to be a mom. Stop making her feel bad about it. If she doesn't want to be a mom, she doesn't want to be a wife, it doesn't mean she's any less of a woman than a woman that wants to do that. So this woman in this podcast is talking about how women need to sit in their femininity. What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? If you gotta go to work and you gotta feed your kids, you can still look cute like I'm getting dressed, and I still got a whole lot of fucking things to do. I got schoolwork, I got work, driving a big ass truck, and I decide I want to still be feminine as far as looking cute. So let's get the terminologies correct. What you're really trying to say is that women should be submissive and doting over a man. So she starts to say how you gotta speak life into a man and stuff like that. Here's the thing. Male or female, you should be nice. You should be nice to your partner. If you're with somebody that's your partner, whether y'all in a, same sex or whatever, like two people, you should be nice to your partner. No one should give you a blueprint on how to build a man up. If he doesn't have self-esteem already when you come in the door, that means he has some work to do. So now when you sit up there trying to build him, it's taken away from what you could be doing to build yourself. And I've learned, I'm speaking from experience. So for the people that's new to this channel, I'm about to be 50 in a couple of weeks. So I am not speaking as this person that's just, how you just fly off of different topics and you just say stuff. No, I've been down this road. And what I have learned in the 50 years on this planet is that people respect you when you are taking care of yourself mentally, physically, and spiritually. When you're lacking in those areas and you take another human being to fulfill those areas, now they become your crutch and you build what's called a codependent relationship. Now it's unhealthy. Now when they're not calling you on time, your brain is scrambling saying, oh, this person doesn't love me. Oh, I'm not good enough. It's because you haven't taken the time to do the work. So all these movements, this culture is crazy. Because when I was growing up, I didn't hear this kind of crap. Men didn't tell me not to go to school. If anything, the guys that I would meet would be like, what you doing with your life? Oh, so you just doing this? Oh, so you're not doing this? Why you not getting your life together? They used to put me on the chopping block like, hey, lady, you need to be in school. You need to be doing something with your life. Not saying that I wasn't, but sometimes, like, let's say there was some situations where I'm in between a job or whatever, and I might go on a date. This is back in the day. The man would ask me, what are you doing with yourself? Okay, you got kids. Okay, is that the end all be all? So what happens when your kids grow up? How your life gonna look? What happens when your husband decides he don't want you no more? God forbid. But why are you sitting around just doting out kids? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. So don't take what I'm saying out of context. Yeah. People have a habit of doing that. They take what you say out of context. I'm referring to the label femininity as being home, doting over a man, being soft-spoken, not challenging anyone, just being there. You're not making a difference in society when you do that. Just understand that. So if you're going to be home and that's your choice, that's fine. But I'm pretty sure if you love being home and that's what you want to do, you want to be a homemaker, you're going to be a damn good homemaker. Because you decided that's what you want to do. Not somebody else put that on you. But when it comes to somebody else putting your life in perspective and telling you what to do, you're going to half-ass it. Because it's not coming from you organically. One thing I've learned is that when you do something that is not within your own will, you're not good at it. And eventually, if you do become good at it, you don't like it. You start to deteriorate. You see what I'm saying? So I gotta cover this up. So when I hear okay, let me cut this piece piece right here. This is not a good piece. Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to multitask. I'm not good at multitasking. I see. I love layers. It's just sexy. So when you, hold on. Yeah, as I was saying, in my day, men, they liked powerful women. And when I say powerful, I don't mean you trying to take control over the man and tell him what to do. In my opinion, anybody that's coming into a relationship or any type of situation where it's work or whatever, if you try to do what's called regressional power, where you take your regression and you try to possess somebody with your power, it really doesn't work out in the long run. Right? You want to have what's called relational power. Relational power is when you both decide to submit to each other in a situation. So let's say the woman gets together with the man, and I'm not giving relationship advice. This is more so talking about how women need to stop following the new fad and the new culture of what a woman is. No one should be able to define for you what womanhood looks like. Okay? When you're in a relationship, whether it's any type of dynamics, you can't lose yourself to somebody else. You have to maintain your whole equilibrium, and that other person can maintain their equilibrium. And if you come together and you decide to submit your power to that person, when I say submit my power, this is what I mean. I wanted to go to sleep in the bed. I wanted to stay asleep. I didn't want to wake up. I was tired. I just wanted to continue dreaming. But I know I have to go to therapy. This is going to help me to get released to go back to work. So I have to give up the power of wanting to be in the bed and submit to the rules. The rules is you have to go to therapy twice a week. Comprende? So me giving up that power is a relational power to the clinic. The clinic says you have to be here. My job requires this for me to go back to work. That is called relational power. This is where, just a side note, this is where I believe the United States is getting ready to push into, which is called anarchy. Anarchy is when people govern themselves. That is relational power, where we all work together, but we're giving up something, but we're doing it from our own free will. This is what a relationship is supposed to be. But a lot of times when we live in a male-dominated society, the man himself don't even want that role. He doesn't want that role of being your God and dominating you and being a tyrant. But he's forced to be in that role because it's culture. It's culturally acceptable for the man to put you in a lesser worthy position. That's just what it's been for a couple centuries. And they're seeing that now it's breaking down society because the women are going crazy. And men will probably say, oh, that's not true. It's because women are trying to get more independent. No, sir. No, sir. Studies show that a lot of those moms that were home that was getting abused by these men, they were not happy. They were just doing what's called their role. There was no relational power going on, meaning that she willingly wanted to do that. A lot of times these women are going crazy, unaliving their children and their husband. It's a hot mess. Men are realizing now you have to respect the woman's position and allow her to have that level of power where she finds out what she wants to do with her life. She goes to school. Not saying that women should only be career minded, because you if you want to have a family, you have to make up in your mind, okay, am I going to sacrifice a few years and dedicate it to my child, right? But when you put this role on a woman, you have to have a kid. She's only 17 18, 19, 20. What the hell she really knows about having a kid if she wasn't raised in that culture to become a mom? So now you're putting all this dynamics on her. You got to be submissive. You got to be a wife. You got to be a baby mama. It's like, oh my gosh, can the girl think for herself? Can she think for herself? Can she have options? I'm going to definitely make a part 2 to this because this is good. I'm listening to this other guy. He's talking about the grape culture. Of course, with the P. Diddy thing, right? The P. Diddy culture. And he's interviewing, I'm going to have to put his situation in the description box. He's interviewing a black district attorney who's from Georgia. This district attorney, like, he is, to me, I don't know this man, but from what he was saying, I said, now that's a man right there. That is a man. He said, I just got a text. This is why I can't make a video. I'm just like, oh my gosh. My daughter just texted me. He said, I have a wife and I have daughters. And I wish that more people would instruct their daughters to speak up against the grape culture or anything that dominates or possesses a woman in an oppressive kind of way. So the guy was like talking about the P. Diddy thing and why people shouldn't open up if he's paying them. So he said because Cassie got paid, she shouldn't have opened her mouth or something like that. So he was like, he thought the guy was going to be like, word, you know, because we bros, the bro code, you know, we men. So yeah, I feel you. I feel you. But the dude was like, sir, no, I have to disagree with you. I have to disagree. I have a wife and I have daughters. And I wish, like basically saying, I wish a nigga would. So he was like, I don't want my daughter to ever feel like she needs to be silenced when it comes to some man taking advantage of her. And that guy got quiet. We need more men like that. We need more men in this male-dominated situation because the women's voices, it matters, but only to a certain point if the man ain't backing up what she's saying. If the man is like, oh, she's just a woman, I agree with the other guy with the grape culture, they all want to get effed, you know. So if you're dressed like this, yeah, that's what you wanted. So if she's fully dressed, she's a prude. Or she's, you know, it's like you can't never really win. So going back to this girl, she's getting interviewed by this guy about being a feminine woman. And I'm looking at her and she's dressed sexy as hell. She's thick, she's voluptuous, she's pretty. And I'm like, ma'am, you don't look like a housewife. So you're preaching that other women should be housewives and stay home with their husbands and talk like this, and you know, and I'm so feminine and I just will do anything for a man. And it's just like, oh, can you please pick me? And it's like, ma'am, you sound like you're doing a double standard. I'm not saying that she's not a good woman. She's probably an awesome, phenomenal girlfriend or wife, but why are you preaching to other women to downgrade their personality? Now, there's two things that differentiate to me what they're trying to say. One is you should have some class and some tact about yourself. You shouldn't be going around being tacky and classless. So just say that. Just say if you're a woman, especially if you're trying to keep a man or attract a man, don't be over dramatic, like loud and ghetto. Like, but then again, ghetto doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing. Some men like prefer that in your face, rah, rah, but not too confrontational, not domestic violence, not, you know what I'm saying? Like not crime and all that stuff. So if you're saying feminine means not loud and not ghetto, just say that. Because you have women that don't like makeup, they're not feminine, but they have the best husband and he's attracted to her. He doesn't need her to be dolled up and soft-spoken. You know, she's probably like in her own right, loud, but not like ghetto. But so it's like, women, just be yourself. Be yourself. Be the best you that you can be. If you find that you're negative, that's not being yourself, because the true self doesn't understand negativity. Negativity comes from other dynamics, trauma, frustration, aggression. There's different reasons why you may not be true to self right now, but as you learn yourself and you grow and you get out of certain bad situations, you could be in a toxic situation that's causing you to become toxic. So all of these dynamics play into why people behave a certain kind of way. So we should talk about behavior patterns. Not every woman should be feminine, because not every woman is feminine. But it doesn't mean she's she's not a woman, if that makes sense. And we're not getting into gender. When I say woman and gender, I'm not talking about that. So I don't want that to be, nowadays you got to watch how you say certain things because people take it out of context. When I say woman, I'm talking about how people describe what a woman should be, meaning behavior. I'm not speaking about gender. I'm talking about behavior. People feel a woman should act this specific type of way in order to call herself a woman. And I have a problem with that. And you know, I'm starting to listen to that girl Candace Owen. She made some very, 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 very valid points when it comes to this Kamala Trump debate. So I've been watching her lately, and one of the things that I love that she said, I'm getting tired of the Democrats only focusing on the race relations in America. She said there's so much more going on with the black people community, with the poor people, that race is not the only thing that's the matter. She said we have a high rate of illiteracy. And I thought about that, and I said, when I listen to some of these podcasts and I listen to some of these men talk about black women shouldn't go to college, I almost passed out, because I'm hearing people like Steve Harvey say that, Kevin Samuels. And it's like, this is the reason why our system is going in the fucking toilet bowl. Because if the woman is not educated, how the hell is she going to educate the kids? She had to wait till you get home from a 9-hour shift to come and sit with your child because they struggling in math. Like, let's talk about this ridiculous ideology that's new on the planet. It's new on the planet. Because in my day, especially with me, Trinidad is one of, in comparison in the Caribbean, Trinidad is very high on the educational totem pole. No matter what the gender, people are really into education in Trinidad. Like I said before, I went to Trinidad when I was about, I think 8. Went there for a year, and when I came back to the United States, I was skipped a grade because the educational system in Trinidad is ahead of American system. So now this was years ago. I don't know currently if that's still the same. So, but when I did go on, no, I went recently. I think it was about a year ago, and Trinidad is still really, really up there. People go to college and stuff like that in Trinidad. So my father, even though he was old-fashioned, he was married to my mom and all that, he would beat the crap out of me and my brothers if we didn't study our SAT books. I was studying SAT, this high school stuff, from 12 and 11 years old. And if we didn't get the answer right, he whooped our ass. He was showing us principal and rate system percentages at the age of like 10. And I'm like, huh? He's like, if you get a 5% rate on your mortgage, and you know how you do the problem solving? So he's like, I told you this is how you do it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this dude is saying a foreign language. I don't know what you're talking about, sir. But he just would keep talking about it until we got it. So this new ideology here in America, I don't know if it's an American thing with these men, because in certain countries, these women are brilliant, smart. Trinidad has a woman prime minister. You know, I'm just saying. So the gender breakdown here in America is just terrible. It's just terrible. For an advanced country like America, these, I don't know who started. We can get into who started it, but that's not the point. What happened? Leah, you asked me about a package?
Yes, asked me about that package.
Oh, I ain't check. Go check.
Yeah.
You got it? So yeah, okay, I think my hair looks, what y'all think? I'm gonna wear the sweater today because I don't want all my goodies showing like that. Let me clean this hair out the sink. I wonder if I got enough time to make a sandwich, or should I grab one. This not having a car shit is just new to me. It's crazy. It's annoying. It's crazy. Ugh. But the point of what I'm saying, I'm listening to this lady on her podcast with this guy. What women have to realize, right? What women have to realize is we want to take in what the other gender is saying, but you have to take in things with a grain of salt. You have to look at the mindset and the agenda as to where it's coming from. So, for example, if you are, hold on, this hair is everywhere. If you are a type of person that you understand your worth outside of the cultural dynamics, which is the cultural dynamics is to make you feel like you're not worthy unless you got 6 figures, or unless you got kids, or unless you got degrees, or whatever the dynamics that the culture is putting upon you. It looks okay.
It's like baggy.
Oh. I guess you should have got the small. But anyways, I gotta get ready to go, so I don't have to. Just, can you refund it? I'll talk to you later. Maybe you should go up the block and just get one over there.
Where?
The store's up there.
I haven't seen like this kind
Oh. Yeah, I gotta get ready to go. This is the first time she's ever up early. I'm trying to get myself together. But if you're in a situation where you are being who you are based off of cultural dynamics, now understand culture is important, right? Because it kind of gives you the blueprint on what's normal, what's acceptable, what's not. So that helps you, but you got to still take it with a grain of salt, because culture changes and it could be changing based off of particular agendas. So if they started saying, okay, we're going back to The Handmaid's Tale, every woman should wear a red dress and a hat, like like the nuns. So if they change the culture and they say everybody needs to look like that to be accepted, that may be hard for you to accept because you're so used to a certain way of doing things. So it's the same dynamic when it comes to understanding what womanhood looks like. If you have so many dynamics telling you what womanhood looks like, you yourself probably won't know which one to listen to. So that's what I'm saying. Listen to yourself. If you're totally lost, find somebody that emulates similarities in you. So if you find like you have a grandma or mom, same type of personality, and you see her life is successful, imitate that until you figure your way out, figure your way to you. But what you don't do, you do not listen to men that have an agenda. Don't listen to men that will have you sitting at home, never getting your life together, and only opening your legs and giving him babies. That's what you don't do. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't have a man. I'm not saying that. But you got to remember, some of the things that they say have an agenda. And the agenda is for their own purpose. It's not to uplift you. Because a lot of times what they're saying, it sounds good to him. Oh, in order to get me, I need you to be this way. Because some of the men will say, in order to get a man, you need to be this way, right? Think about that statement. That's like saying the woman telling him, in order for you to get a woman, you need to be light-skinned. But he's dark-skinned. He can't change the dynamics of who he is. But they'll tell you to change the dynamics of who you are. So if you're a chunky woman and he says, well, men won't date a woman because she's chunky, now you got to change the dynamics of who you are because of what he's saying. Think about that. Think about what it sounds like. Because not everybody was born skinny. So we're going to get that dynamic out of there, right? He's like, oh, well, if you're over this amount of body fat, you're not lovable or acceptable. This world is screwed the fuck up mentally. Because if you're obese and you're not taking care of yourself, that becomes a you problem. Not anybody else, not anybody in dating. That becomes a you problem. But if you was born overweight, if you was born big bone, that's why they have a body mass scale. So not everybody's born with skinny bones. Some people are born big bone. So big bone means when you gain weight, you're gonna look bigger than the average person. Or not the average, but like you're gonna look bigger than a small person. So if you're bigger than a small person, guess what? You can't lose but so much weight because you're still gonna look big. For example, Oprah Winfrey, she's big bone. So even if she was to go down skinny, she would look like she's ill. Does that make sense? So now you have these men out here saying, if a woman is not this particular size, she's not doable. She's not likable. Or if she's after 35 years old, she's not likable. Women, y'all gotta remember, they're saying their preference and their ideology. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it the standard. So just believe in yourself. Just do you and believe in yourself. Because at the end of the day, if you listen to everybody's version of who you should be, you're going to go crazy and you're going to constantly be trying to change who you are being fake. You about to... What's that? Oh, can you just hold it for me? I got to get ready to go. I like the shirt. I'm gonna have to start telling my kids when I'm making a video not to come and disturb me. So I wonder if I have time to make something to eat. We're gonna try real quick. What time is it? I'm making a video. Stop asking me a bunch of questions. Listen, y'all, I'm gonna just make a part 2 because right now my brain is all over the place and I literally only have like 10 minutes to go. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.